The journey between Tamale and Chereponi is perhaps the clearest indication of the conflict and what it has done so far. And I can still feel the heat, even though this happened on Sunday, about 5 days ago. Several ghost towns line the street, and we've only been able to get this far with armed police officers as our escort. This was when we drove through Tamale and Saboba to Chereponi. It is one of the longest but safest routes to get to Chereponi, even with the security escorts. As we were told it was not completely safe to stop and film inside the deserted villages, we took our shots on the move. It is not safe, they say, because apparently the perpetrators of the conflict hide in bushes ready to attack. The impact of these attacks are also clear as we drive along. Ghost towns and dozens of the remains of houses which were set ablaze. Nambiri is a Chokosi-dominated community, and they have clearly had their share of the attacks. I have come to Gbalu, another Chokosi community.
So in the night, you just heard some gunshots, and the house was started. They started burning the houses. Then he ran away. It was just this morning that they brought him to the house.
This man is more than 70 years old. He has only mustered courage to assess the destruction caused his house because there is daylight. He will soon leave to a hiding place because, as he puts it, it is not safe here at night. Security forces on the ground say the attackers are most active in the night when the police and military personnel cannot be everywhere at the same time. His bedroom ceiling is riddled with bullet holes. He says this is the 4th time his house has been burnt in his lifetime here. With uncertainty in his 71-year pair of eyes, he stares with anxiety at his loss. His not-so-distant neighbor is showing us around his house. His loss includes sheep and fowls, and for him, all that is left is confusion in his mind on the way forward for his life. His family had to be pulled through the window one after the other when the fire started.
They are not aware about them, about their coming. So they were in their bed. Recently they hear gunshots. So they were not feeling comfortable. For him, he don't have anything to do, so he has given everything to Almighty. All of us should be patient. When we all have patience, the fighting will be stopped.
It has taken years to build his possessions, he tells me. Now he is down to nothing and wonders where to begin from this end. Here, you hardly meet human beings, as almost all of them have fled. But these men I've interacted with are just 2 of the residents who are going to have to start life afresh, even if they live in the poorest parts of the country. More destruction as we take our tour through Kokuma-dominated areas, just as we have done in Chokosi communities. Here you see a full house that's been razed down to the ground. We're told that the Member of Parliament for Chereponi hails from this place. This, including other houses, as well as his mom's place, were all burnt down. We're told that dozens of foodstuff were also destroyed in the fire. A village called Adale is my next destination. This is a Kokuma-dominated community. From afar, I spotted Gloria Jabanite. As I get closer, the pain in her eyes is almost tangible. She has lost everything, she says. She managed to get her children out to safety in neighboring Garimpuka before her house was set ablaze. She was inconsolable at the sight of what was left of her property. Gloria has come to pick up the remains of her personal belongings, the few things that holds memories of this house, including pictures of her children. Things the attackers could not burn like the roofing sheet, they cut through them to make sure they were unusable. I have nothing left. I wanted to comfort this house another day, but I couldn't. And now it is also destroyed. Gloria's brother was not spared. In his house at Konofu, another village, signs of joyful children moment have all been reduced to debris, starting from the children's bedroom, where a pile of burnt textbooks is all that's left. Some of the books are scattered outside in the compound, and their slippers littered the place, with the last of what looks like their homework still on the blackboard. Worse for him, he has neither seen nor heard from his first wife and children. 5 days after the attack, he is still searching for them.
Maybe they are hiding somewhere, because we can't go to town, and the policeman is just in town there, so we can't go there. So I don't know how to do in the report. Okay. The station that we are there, we have nothing to do with it, unless God. It's a sleeping room. That's my mother's room.
His aged mother, who refused to obey orders by the attackers to vacate the room, was forcefully moved out, and the house was set ablaze.
It stinks.
He was able to open up his livestock for them to flee from the blaze. But he says his fowls were not so lucky. They are all reduced to ashes beneath this pile of debris. He seems strong as he assesses his loss, but that is not too strange. In most parts of Ghana and Africa, a Tieri man is considered weak. What you see here is evidence of an attempt to cut off two communities. This is essentially a bridge between a stronghold of the Kokumbes, a known stronghold of the Kokumbes called Adali. And from here towards my right, you go to Chereponi. I have left Adali and Konofu. I'm heading towards Kodani, a Chokosi area. Over here, there were no attacks. But whilst they had and were escaping the chaos, their foodstuffs were destroyed. They're pleading for food.
We were crossing the river to Togo, and all of our food fell in the water. We're just praying for peace, even if it is without food.
You know, the food that we store here, we have been hearing that they are burning food, they are burning food stuff. So because of that, we wanted to send some and then run to the Togo. All of a sudden, because you need fast now, you can even go in, then some of the food will fall under the water. Then, because the canoes cannot cover everybody, because they want fast, they are saying that the conflict has come in. So you run, you even carry it with what? Bike or bicycle. Then all of a sudden it will tear and then flow in the land.
We are now pleading with the government to help us with food. We ran during the conflict, and in the process, we lost all our food in the river, and many of our possessions are destroyed.
Garinkuka is my next place of visit. Most of Kokumbes who were attacked in smaller villages have all fled here. What you see behind me are equipment belonging to a contractor who's constructing this stretch of road. And the story is that when the conflict broke out, the people who live here in Garinkuka tried to cut off their community from the others, or to cut the other communities from here. So they mounted a roadblock here using these equipment you see here. As we enter a heavily populated town, we notice an empty market and schools looking dilapidated. Life cannot be normal, as on the school park, what draws your attention is an angry vehicle. Students here who are to write the basic entrance certificate examination in a few days are in a limbo because the tests are to be taken in Chereponi, the district capital, which also happens to be dominated by Tukusis. They tell me they have had to flee because of attacks.
The reason why we are not preparing to go and write the BEC is the conflict.
We, the candidate, we cannot more go into Chereponi district to go and write BEC.
As we leave Garinkuka, we are mindful of the plight of the BEC students. But the story is not so different even for those who live in the district capital, because schools there were also closed down and the BEC candidates there have similar stories. All these students have waited many days for schools to be reopened after they were closed down at the sound of gunshots and non-native teachers fled. Away from the schools, we're checking on the district hospital. Only 8 nurses remain out of 62. The impact seems well managed, even with a few nurses left behind with only one doctor. But from 62 to 8 nurses, managing cannot be easy.
We are not feeling good there, but and then they will come.
I came here early, so because they are not there, like if they were to be there by now, I would have gone back to the house. It's because the nurses, they've left, it's affecting us.
And as government invests in security, it has had its share of the attack. When the Chereponi District Assembly Coordinator, Alhaji Al-Hassan Fusaini, came under gunfire on his way back home from Tamale. A bullet missed his head, whilst he sustained injuries to his feet. His vehicle was then set ablaze whilst he was taken to the hospital. In the end, residents are bearing the brunt with a dawn-to-dusk curfew. As government delegations have come through these towns, they are hoping that a ceasefire secured will be sustained. The impacts of these conflicts transcend the present. Physical, emotional and psychological effects live on for entire lifetimes, whilst the anger and quest for revenge is passed on to generations, breeding a cycle of attacks. For children, the emotional and psychological stress could affect their lives forever, and research abounds to this fact. It is obvious that there can never be winners, but only losers in ethnic conflicts like these, and that is why it must stop now. Gypsy Andopia, JoyNews, Chereponi, Northeast Region.